Good morning. Let's talk about Egyptian onion or winter onion. They are growing in my garden. They are flowering, and I don't even think I will say they are flowering. They are producing their little onion already, and I believe at the beginning of the season I'll show you when they start coming up early this spring. And now they grew. I harvested a lot of grains from my freezer, and that's why it's like a race in spring, because when I don't get to it and they start producing the stock for their small bulb, they don't focusing on growing the leaves, so it will be hard to find leaves for eating. And you can see that those leaves are kind of light greenish color turning to brown. So they are focusing their energy to grow and ripe their little onion. And this onion is edible. So that's pretty much what I eat when they start growing. And then I'll keep the majority to replant, to propagate the onion. And the one at the bottom, I don't like to eat it unless I'm harvesting a bunch of it to replant and I have excess. That's when I'll eat it. They don't do well in storage, so they do better in the ground. But those are edible, and while they are here, even if I need some, I can just come and flip few. But the way they do it is they can produce a lot. And while they are doing it, they might even produce another one. So this plant, for example, has some here. A lot of time when they do that, they'll produce few first and produce a little bit more on top, so they'll have two layers. And this one might just produce a bunch of small one and just one level. And sometimes while they are growing, the one that tend to be a little bit bigger, they'll start growing already on top. So I just like to come and observe them, because I'll know when it is time to start removing them and replanting them. So they will be here for a while. And what I like to do with this is, when it's time, I'll cut this one and I'll put it in my freezer for my vegetable stock or vegetable broth. So that'll be my onion in the broth. But that's that. There is not much here to harvest for eating when it comes to the leaf itself, because they are quite brownish color, unless there are few plants that didn't produce bubble. They will still be fresh, but most of them, they will have bubble on top. You can see some of them have different colors than others, and some of them has bigger bulb than others as well. And these just have 4 big ones, so chances are they will start growing. So feeding from the mother, they'll start having their own plants as well. And you can see them here. While you can see some having some flower on top and having a bunch of it together. So they're all different. And this one has 3 big, but has another branch coming out and having more here with some flowers on top. So they all, it's not just one style for them. When I look at them, they are all doing their own things. Like, it's just so amazing to just watch them. And I like to have them. They replace my onion in my cooking. I don't purchase any onion from the store anymore. I just eat the leaves from those perennials onion. They do well in my zone 5A. Late in season to go dormant, and early in spring to come back. So I harvest a lot in spring. I have many gallons in my freezer, but not enough for my whole winter. So in fall, they will start growing leaves again, and I will harvest a lot to freeze. But now that I cannot harvest for eating, I just cook without onion. I don't even get to the one that I have in my freezer. And later in season, I will start peeling off some of those bulbs to eat. but not a lot. Until it's time they start growing back from the ground is when I know it's time to start harvesting them and start planting. A lot of times they do that late in summer. So I just watch them and I know when is their time to replant. Is when they start growing back from the ground. So that's just a small batch here, but I have them throughout my garden. I just like to plant the bulb wherever I have space so that I have enough supply for my year around cooking. And you can see this one here is very giant. All the way here, growing tall leaves, but again growing this one here. So they all have their own specific. So, and that's that. And this one is even having 2 branches here. And those are things that I can easily harvest, few and eat as well. But I don't like to bother them much. And I have another one here, and they are not from the same. Seems like they are from the same plant, but I'm not sure. It's in on the other side of the wire. Seems like I didn't even get to divide them, so those two seems to be together, but the stalk is very huge. And yes, that's my garlic, my Egyptian onion. So if they can do well in your area, that's a very easy onion to have. When I was giving them from my in-laws, my grandmother in-laws garden, they gave me so much, and I was living in a duplex that we rented at that time. I planted them and I put some in my compost. I was making compost. I have a compost pile at that time, and I just put some in and I put a bunch of things on them. But when we were moving out of there to come here, I wanted to take the compost along. So when I dug the compost, I found them growing at the bottom of the compost. I was surprised. The leaves was kind of whitish, but it was alive, growing after months of being there. And I said to myself that this plant is very resistant. And I took those. I dug the one that I have at that place, and I brought them here, and I planted them in my garden somewhere down there. But over time, I put some here. They are the ground level. I just put some bricks around and I have them in, but I have been putting them all over the places to see where they like better. They do well in some area than others, but that's a very good onions to have in your garden, for the simple fact that they don't require a lot of maintenance at all. In fact, they don't require any. I don't water them, I don't weed them, I just mulch. And when I harvest, what I'll harvest here, I'll just cut the rest and mulch the ground with it. I just like to keep the ground mulch as much as possible because it can dry out easily when the ground is not mulched. And that's all I do for them. Thank you for watching. I'm Afiavi Ojune Liberman, creators of Liberman Consulting L.L.C YouTube channel and owners of Nina Soap. Our website is ninasoap.com.